What is up guys, Joe here, welcome back to my channel, and today we have the third episode of the future of cycling. Today we're going to go from 2023 to the end of 2025, so we're going to simulate 3 seasons. On the screen at the moment you see the best riders under the age of 28, so 27 and below. And these are the riders I'm really interested in. How have these guys got on? How are they going to continue to develop? Which of these guys are going to become very good? You see Tom Pidcock right here. He's only 23, hasn't quite developed how I expected him. You can see a few other guys. A Rensman, I thought he'd be better by now. Still only 23 though, so obviously he's got a lot of room to grow still. Obviously guys like Remco, when will he really start to challenge for a Grand Tour? Will he start to do that, or will he become a real classics man? We have the Plus as well, maybe he'll start to kick on. So yeah, we're going to see how these guys really develop in this episode. So here's the current state of the World Tour. We have Corendon still here, who have replaced Mathieu van der Poel with Wout van Aert. There he is. Somehow they managed to get hold of him. But we can see we've got this Santic team as well as this French team. But I don't think anyone else has a new sponsor in the World Tour, which is really surprising. You can see Conti Pro now, all the teams right there, and the Continental teams right here. So I think we're going to get straight into it guys and forward to the 2023 Giro d'Italia. So Richard Carapaz has won the 2023 Giro d'Italia. I think that's his 4th Grand Tour since the start of this simulation. He beats Pinot and Lopez, and Lopez still hasn't won a Grand Tour, now 29 years old and 84 mountain. We see Sosa and Landa in the top 5. Ardea, who I think has just won the baby Giro in real life, he's coming good, now 24 for Ineos. Higuita 7th and Carthy in 8th. Kemna, who won it last year, only 10th. In the sprint competition, Gaviria beats Ewan and Groenewegen. The mountain competition was won by Hugh Carthy, and the youth competition was won by Ardea ahead of Pogačar. So guys, the Tour de France is done, and Tom Dumoulin has his 2nd Tour de France in a row. He's on a roll at Ineos, just beating Julian Alaphilippe, and he was actually in the leader's jersey I saw with just a few stages to go before losing it to Dumoulin, of course. Sastre, who's a new generated player for Trek, he came 3rd. Roglic 4th, Pogačar 5th. Pogačar actually was really close. I think he was 2nd for most of the Tour. Then he dropped away. We have Remco 7th, Gaudu 8th, and Latour rounding out the top 10. Pascal Ackermann wins the green jersey ahead of Peter Sagan. KOM jersey was won by Julian Alaphilippe, and the youth jersey was won by Sastre of Spain. As you can see guys, we've reached La Vuelta a España 2023, and Ivan Ramiro Sosa has won the 1st Grand Tour of his career at the age of 25, just beating Geoghegan Hart by only 13 seconds, agonising for the Briton. We have Landa 3rd, Carapaz 4th, and Soler in 5th, who is only 1 minute and 30 down, so a really close race. And if we move over to the final stage, it was a time trial which Geoghegan Hart actually won, but Ivan Ramiro Sosa, with the time trial of his life, finishing 6th with just 65 prologue, losing just 6 seconds and holding on for the victory. What a win. The sprint jersey was won by Landa ahead of Geoghegan Hart. The KOM competition was won by Daniel Pearson, who's developed really nicely, and the youth jersey was won by this Spanish guy. So quick update for the world champs. Caleb Ewan takes his 1st rainbow jersey ahead of Groenewegen and Colbrelli in 3rd. It seems like quite a few of the world champs have been for the sprinters in the past few seasons. And in the time trial we have Victor van der Ven, very good young time trialist at 23, taking the time trial jersey ahead of Tom Dumoulin. So the winners of the 2023 Grand Tours are Richard Carapaz, Tom Dumoulin and Ivan Ramiro Sosa. Let's take a look at some of the other races this season. So Daniel Martinez has won the Tour Down Under. We have this American fella, Lanzia. He's won Paris-Nice. Can't even see his stats yet. We have Pinot winning Tirreno, Lopez winning in Catalonia and the Basque Country, Brandon McNulty winning for Quick Step at the Tour de Romandy, a great win for the now 25-year-old American. Sam Oomen winning the Dauphiné, very good result for him. Carapaz winning the Tour de Poland and the Tour de Suisse, and Wout van Aert winning the Bink Bank Tour. So you can see the national champions right here if you so wish. Let's take a look at the winners of the monuments. Fernando Gaviria winning Milan-San Remo ahead of Groenewegen and Jasper Philipsen. T.S. Benoot getting the biggest win of his career, winning the Tour of Flanders, I think his first monument as well. How old is he now? 29 years old. Finally getting his first monument. Mathieu van der Poel wins his first Paris-Roubaix. I think Garcia Cortina's been in the top 3 a few times. And then moving over, Vincenzo Nibali winning Liège-Bastogne-Liège at the age of 38. What a win for old Vincenzo, ahead of Adam Yates and Julian Alaphilippe. And Il Lombardia won by Mathieu van der Poel, getting his second monument of the season, beating Gianni Moscon. And finally, looking at a few of the other classics, we can see Mathieu van der Poel getting another win, Sam Bennett winning Ghent-Wevelgem, Alaphilippe winning yet again the Amstel Gold Race. That seems to be his favourite race for sure. We have Gaudu winning Flèche Wallonne, this guy winning San Sebastian, Moschetti getting a win. We also have Calmejane getting a win, great result for him. Dumoulin winning both the Canadian races. What a season for the Tour de France winner. And so looking at the World Tour rankings at the end of the season, Carapaz is in first place, just ahead of Alaphilippe, Miguel Angel Lopez, Pinot and Dumoulin in the top 5, Van der Poel in 6th. With regards to Continental, it's Coquard and Barguil way ahead of everyone else. These guys still in Continental. They're far too good for that division. Super Prestige is also won by Carapaz, just ahead of Alaphilippe. Lopez in 3rd place, Pinot 4th and Gaviria in 5th position. And finally, Dylan Groenewegen and Julian Alaphilippe have the joint most victories on the season with 17. Lopez, Carapaz and Coquard round out the top 5. And moving on now to the team rankings, and it does seem finally Ineos do not win this competition. Bora Hansgrohe first, FDJ second and Trek Segafredo in 3rd. Ineos only 4th and only just ahead of Lotto Soudal in 5th place. The worst World Tour teams were Corendon and this new French team. And the best Conti Pro team is Katusha. Moving on to Continental, we have this Spanish Euskadi team with the best results in the Continental races. You can see they've got some very strong riders. This guy now 82 mountain. Wow, that is unbelievable with only 71 hill. Crazy rider right there. Super Prestige won by FDJ, Bora 2nd and Trek 3rd, the same top 3. Ineos only 5th in this competition. So let's take a look at the biggest transfers to take place this season. Peter Sagan, you can already see, has moved to Deceuninck Quick-Step. You can see Gaviria's moved, Bernal and Pollitt all to Trek Segafredo. You can see a few others right here. Let's go to the transfer page now and take a look at these in closer detail. So let's take a look at the signings in more detail now. You see Agitoire, no real big signings for them. Bahrain Merida bring in Conchi, who's developed pretty nicely actually. A very good young climber. No big signings for Bora. Corendon, again, no big signings. Quick-Step bringing in Peter Sagan at 33 years old, as well as this very good German puncher. Education First bring in Schlegel as their biggest signing. Moving on, this Czech team, they do lose Danny Martinez. No big signings though for them. This French team makes some good signings, bringing in Sastre, Colbrelli, Halvorsen, a few other guys as well. Do lose Ganna though, who's a good time trialist. FDJ are the team that bring in Felipe Ganna, now 79 time trial at the age of 27. Really good rider. 80 resistance as well. Lotto Soudal, no big signings for them. Mitchelton Scott bring in Castroviejo, who's 36 years old now. No big signings for Movistar. Team Ineos bring in a few riders, but they lose a bunch of good riders. Most notably, Egan Bernal, who's now 26 years old. I still don't think he's won a Grand Tour. We're still waiting. 84 mountains. Surely, at his new team, Trek Segafredo, he can get his first win next season. Jumbo-Visma bring in Lampert and this Moldovan time trialist. Could become a good stage racer actually, 77 mountain. They do lose Pollitt and the world champion time trialist Van der Ven though. No big signings for Sunweb. This team bring in Kung and this Austrian sprinter. They do lose Dennis and Colbrelli though. Moving on, Trek Segafredo, massive summer of signings for them. But now Gaviria, Pollitt, Gruber, who's a very good climber. Do lose a few riders. Bauke Mollema now 36. Moving on to Delco Marseille. But really good signings for them. UAE bringing in Van der Ven most notably, but also Janssen, Masnada, Conti, Ballerini, losing Sagan and Gaviria though. So guys, we forwarded all the way to the 2024 Giro d'Italia, and as you can see, Simon Yates wins the Giro at 31 years old, Ciccone second for Italy, and Ardea in third for Ineos. We have Sosa fourth, this Kazakh rider in fifth, Carthy, Lopez, Rubino, Sivkov and Pino round out the top 10. Moving on to the sprint competition, Simon Yates wins there as well. KOM jersey was won by this Italian guy. And then the youth jersey also won by Ardea. So guys, the winner of the 2024 Tour de France is Johnny Juliet. I've absolutely ruined his name, but he wins by just 10 seconds ahead of Remco Evenepoel. His best result in a Grand Tour, second, just 10 seconds down. But now on the podium, still can't get a win. He's third. Roglic fourth, Dumoulin fifth, Pogačar in sixth. So some very good riders in the top six right there. Pinot eighth, Bookman ninth. Looking at the green jersey, Gaviria just about beats Caleb Ewan. The mountain competition was won by Pinot despite having the same points as this other French rider, and the youth jersey was won by Juliet and Evenepoel in second. So the winner of the 2024 La Vuelta a España is this Spanish fella, 83 mountain, only 73 hill. He is a generated rider. I think he may well be the first generated rider to win a Grand Tour. Sosa second, I think he won it last year, so couldn't quite retain that win. Ardea third, Ciccone fourth, and Carapaz was fifth. In the sprint jersey, we have this Carlos Cannibal, absolutely fantastic name there. He takes the win in this competition. KOM winner is the guy who won the race as well, and he also wins the Young Riders jersey. So once more guys, we have two more world champions, and Julian Alaphilippe finally takes his first rainbow bands at the age of 32. It was bound to happen sooner or later, and finally he gets some parcours that suits him really well. In the time trial, Ghana beats Krah Andersen and Van der Ven, who won it last year. Really dominant performance, 44 seconds clear of second place. So the results for the 2024 Grand Tours are in the books. Simon Yates getting the win, and then I believe two generated riders getting the win as well. So really a sign of time progressing here. Let's take a look at some of the other races. So Michael Matthews won the Santos Tour Down Under. We have Bernal getting a win. Still looking for a Grand Tour after one season at Trek Segafredo. You can see all the guys getting wins. Victor van der Ven, Lopez winning in the Tour de Suisse. I've noticed this guy's won quite a few races. You can see very, very good rider, Davies Lantier. You can see the national champions here if you want to. Then moving on to the monuments, very similar to last season actually, if I'm not mistaken. 2023 to 24. Gaviria wins Milan-San Remo again. Benoot wins the Tour of Flanders again. Van der Poel wins Paris-Roubaix again. And then we have Shadrach Lismir getting the win at Liège-Bastogne-Liège. 85 hill, 80, my word, he's unbelievable. Alaphilippe level rider, the American. And talking of Alaphilippe, he wins Il Lombardia ahead of Lismore. Quick look now at the other classics. We have Sagan, Pollitt, Bernal, Caleb Ewan, Schachmann, Viviani all getting wins here. So looking at the World Tour standings, we have Johnny Juliet, the winner of the Tour de France, getting the most points. Bernal second, Remco Evenepoel in third. I'm interested to see how he did this season. Obviously second at the Tour, quite close in numerous races, third in Flèche Wallonne. He won the Tour of California, won the Belgium time trial as well. At the moment though, his stats looking very good. He can't quite convert that to getting wins in the big races yet though. Moving on to Continental, we have Barguil again winning this competition. Super Prestige won by Juliet ahead of Bernal and Alaphilippe. Looking at the victories now, we have Dalton Banfield with 13 wins. That's probably the lowest total I've seen. Let's take a look at him. I assume he's generated. And yes, he's a Continental level sprinter, it would seem. So in the World Tour, we have Lotto Soudal winning the World Tour rankings, just pipping Trek Segafredo. Jumbo Visma third, Ineos fourth, Mitchelton Scott in fifth. Let's take a look at Lotto Soudal, because I think that's a fairly surprising result. We have Benoot. Of course, they have Johnny Juliet, the winner of the Tour de France, Caleb Ewan, Emmerich Mas, Stan de Wolf, now developed into a really good cobbles rider. Geoghegan Hart as well, he did really well in one of the Grand Tours recently, so they have a very, very strong team, pipping Trek Segafredo here. The weakest team in the World Tour was Direct Energy, I believe, and the strongest Conti Pro team is Euskadi, the Spanish outfit. Moving on to Continental, Euskadi winning this competition as well, and they're also 8th in Super Prestige. Who do they have? They must have some really good riders. They have this fella, I think that's the Vuelta winner right there. So they've won the Vuelta. A Conti Pro team has won the Vuelta España. This guy as well, he's a very good sprinter. Banashek, very good young sprinter as well. Fred Delaney, very good young sprinter. I think he's competing in the Tour de l'Avenir as in real life as we speak, as I'm recording this. And then moving on to victories, it's also Euskadi winning this competition. I get the feeling they might be a World Tour team next season. So guys, we're now in January 2025, the final season we will cover in this episode. There weren't too many transfers last season, so I thought the best way to show the current teams would be to go through them one by one in this page. So quickly, we can see the new teams in the World Tour. We have this French outfit, Euskadi now here. We have this Quilmes, they're a new sponsor. Team Yukio, I think they're a Conti team to start. They're now a World Tour team. We also have this team who've been in the World Tour for a while now. Moving to Conti Pro. I'm probably going to miss some teams here, but Astana are now Conti Pro. We have Carrefour, who are a new sponsor, of course. There are quite a few new sponsors on this page, as you can see. Moving on to Conti level, you can see all sorts of teams. CCC now down to Conti level. This team is Vital Concept, the team my rider's riding for. Nice jersey, actually. Really like that jersey. And yeah, you can see all the teams in the world at the moment. Okay guys, the 2025 Giro is done and Tadej Pogačar has finally won his first Grand Tour at the age of 26, beating Enric Mas and Adam Yates on the podium. But now fourth, again a decent result, but not a Grand Tour win for him. Now 28 years old. Ciccone fifth. You can see the rest of the top 10 as well. The sprint competition was won by Tadej Pogačar as well. The mountains competition won by Samuel Rubino of Team Ineos, and the youth jersey won by the same rider. So the Tour de France is done and Johnny Juliet has retained his jersey from last season, beating Tom Dumoulin by just under a minute and a half. David Gaudu gets his best result, I think, in the Tour so far. Roglic at 35 gets fourth, and Gegenhardt with a very solid fifth place. You can see the rest of the results in the green jersey. Dylan Groenewegen just beats Viviani and Hodge. The mountain jersey won by Tom Dumoulin pretty comfortably, and the youth jersey won by Remco Evenepoel. Okay guys, La Vuelta a España is done and Tadej Pogačar has won another Grand Tour, his second of the season I do believe. Hugh Carthy second, Enric Mas third, Sosa and Higuita round out the top five. You can see Quintana now at 35, still at Movistar. He's in sixth place. In the sprint jersey, Pogačar beats Mas and Sosa. Pogačar wins the mountains competition as well, ahead of Kuss. And in the under 25 competition, Rubino wins ahead of Ballon. So it's the 1st of October and the World Championships are complete in 2025. And Kevin Bod of the Netherlands has won at the age of 23, beating this German fella and this Norwegian who's only 22. So the top three all generated players, which is the first time we've seen that, that's for sure. In the time trial, Leonard Kamner beats Toboso and Marin. So we can now see the results of the three Grand Tours. Pogačar, of course, winning two of them this season, and Johnny Juliet retaining his Tour de France from last season. Let's take a look at some of the other races. So here we go. Alex Kirsch actually wins the Santos Tour Down Under, and I'm pretty sure he won via a breakaway with 61 mountain and 72 hill. Moving on, we have Lanzia, Juliet, a few more generated riders now, and Pogačar is the only other real rider to win one of these races at the moment. You can see the national champions on this page. I've noticed Fred Delaney has won quite a few of the British championships over the past few seasons. Now looking at the monuments, we have Dylan Groenewegen, Stander Wolf winning the Tour of Flanders, Niels Pollitt has won Paris-Roubaix, we have Brandon McNulty winning Liège-Bastogne-Liège. He also won Il Lombardia, so a great season for the American. In the other classics, we have Matthew van der Poel, Peter Sagan, Matej Mohoric winning Amstel Gold Race, finally defeating Julian Alaphilippe, who'd won that a few years in a row, I think. You can see he's now a really, really strong rider. Moving on, Egan Bernal, Gaudu, Jakobsen, Alaphilippe and Moschetti all getting wins. So looking at the World Tour rankings, we have Tadej Pogačar taking the victory just ahead of Johnny Juliet, Tom Dumoulin third, Lanzia fourth and Adam Yates in fifth for Mitchelton Scott. He's developed really well and you can see his season right here on the right. Moving on to Continental, we have Tim Merlier winning the standings fairly comfortably. Kevin Bod, who of course won the World Championships, he's a Continental rider. He's third in the standings right here. In Super Prestige, it is Pogačar, Juliet and Dumoulin in the top 3 again. And in the team rankings, we have Lotto Soudal comfortably taking the victory ahead of FDJ, Trek Segafredo, Jumbo-Visma and Ineos round out the top 5. The lowest ranked World Tour team is Team Ukio, who have struggled this season, it would seem. Moving on to Continental, we have Legrand, the French Conti Pro team. You can see their riders here. They have Gilles Ganza, who's 80 overall. How is he in Continental? Same with this guy, very, very strong rider indeed. Looking now at Super Prestige, we have Lotto Soudal, Trek, and this Austrian team in the top 3. The lowest ranked World Tour team again is Quilmes and Ukio, whilst the highest Conti Pro team is Katusha, so maybe they will make a return to World Tour next season. And finally, taking a look at the victories, we have Trek Segafredo with 41, Lotto Soudal on 39, and those two teams are well clear of anyone else. So now, taking a look at the team index, Lotto Soudal are the only team on 5 stars for next season. What a team they have. You can see all their best riders right here. And moving down, we can see quite a few teams are moving from Conti Pro to World Tour. We have this French team, AG2R, the Czech team are coming back up, whilst Ukio and Euskadi are moving down. So let's have a quick look at the transfers now. We can see the biggest transfer is Magnus Cort Nielsen, who has signed for Benesto, now a 77 overall, very strong all-round rider who's a very good sprinter as well. Let's take a look at the transfers. So, like the previous times, I am going to skim through this, not go too quickly. You can see no big signings for Bahrain. Bora signed Stefan Kung, who's a very, very good rider at this point. Taconic Quickstep signed Sagan and Lampert. EF Education First, you can see their signings right here. I will try and scroll down so you can see some retirements, such as Geraint Thomas, who has retired at the age of 39. You can see his attributes, only a 69 overall. But moving on, you can see the riders who have signed for this team. Again, Euskadi, they go down to Conti Pro next season. FDJ bring in Ghana and Grossu. Damien Godin, now a 57 overall, he finally retires. And then moving on, we have Lotto Soudal, bringing in Jasper de Bust and Van Kielsbroek. Retiring for them is no one of note. Mitchelton Scott bring in Brandel, and you see there's one retirement for them as well. Movistar don't bring in any signings at all. Betancourt does retire at the age of 36. Quilmes bring in Selig, although I think they're going down to Conti Pro next season. Team Ineos bring in Fausto Masnada, who's a pretty strong rider actually. Same with Dylan van Baal, who makes a return to the team. Moving forward, we have Jumbo-Visma, Nils Pollitt, and this Moldovan fella signed for the team. Very, very strong team for them. Same with the world champion, so Kevin Bod will ride for Jumbo-Visma next season. No retirements for them. No big signings for Sunweb, although I have noticed Jan Bakelands is now a 56 overall. Team Ukio, you can see they do make some good signings. I do think they're going down to Conti Pro next season though, which is slightly surprising. You can see the signings made by this Austrian team, Colbrelli, Dennis, some good signings for them. Trek Segafredo bring in Samuel Rubino from Ineos, one of the best young climbers in the world. Definitely a Grand Tour contender here. They bring a return for Stuyven and Bauke Mollema, now 38, and his attributes haven't actually decreased that much. So Bauke Mollema seems to have a very long career ahead of him. They do lose Pollitt and Gaviria though. Can't see any retirements here. Greg Van Avermaet now a 70 overall. Moving on, UAE Team Emirates bring back Gaviria and they bring in Janssen from Education First. Of course, he rides for Lotto Jumbo-Visma in real life. They do lose Sagan, Vliegen and Masnada though. And you can see Daniel Martin finally retires for UAE, age 39 and a 64 overall. And now, looking at the exploits, we do have some new ones this season. Tadej Pogačar with the Vuelta Supremacy, which was also won by Pouls and Carapaz, if you remember. And of course, Pogačar has won the Giro and the Vuelta in the same season, only the 5th rider of all time to do that. So we have now reached the year 2026, and I believe this is now the 8th season that we will be completing in the next video. But you can see the World Tour teams at the moment. We have this new French team, Wico. I actually have no idea how you pronounce that, but you can see their riders here. Philipsen, one of their best riders. Same with this guy. So yeah, we'll see how they do this season. I think they're the only kind of new sponsor from the previous seasons in World Tour. But to end this episode, I thought we'd search by the best riders in the world at the moment, and Julian Alaphilippe does remain one of the few riders on 82 overall. We have Shadrach Lismore and this guy from Germany all on 82. Such good hill riders, all of them. We have Van der Poel, Van der Ven, Van Aert, Julier, and this guy who I haven't seen yet, David Kogler from Austria. He's 81 overall. And 80 now is Remco Evenepoel. Maybe he will start to challenge in the Grand Tours and maybe some more one-day classics, because we haven't seen as much as I expected from him just yet. And that the same goes for Egan Bernal. He's at 80 overall. By his attributes, he should be winning a ton of races. Just hasn't quite happened for him yet. And he's now 28 years old. So to finish, I have searched for the best riders above the age of 26, and this should cut out the majority of the generated riders. I've noticed it's cut out Remco Evenepoel, but you can see the best riders in 7 years in the future from the current peloton. So we have Alaphilippe, Van der Poel and Van Aert, still some of the best riders. T.S. Benoot, Egan Bernal. I'm not going to read them all out, but you can see Filippo Ganna, Higuita has developed really nicely. Same with Sivakov. Emmerich Mas has turned out pretty good for Spain. Hodge has developed really nicely. Same with Mads Pedersen. He's very good cobbles rider from Denmark, of course. Sonny Colbrelli has developed nicely. Lawrence de Plus is here. We have Soren Kragh Andersen, Kasper Asgreen, David Gaudu, he's a very good climber. Going down further, we have Leonard Kamner, Fabio Jakobsen. You can see all the riders. I'll scroll down for you to see the best riders 7 years in the future from the current peloton. And so guys, that will round out this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. As you can see, a lot of the generated riders are now winning races. So I may change the format up in the final episode to try and cut some of that out and show you kind of the best riders from the real peloton in real life. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Drop a like and a comment down below for me if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.